can't believe Mr. Gaddy's was closed, but hopefully everybody will enjoy this new location that I chose. Where is everybody? I guess I'm just a little early. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear me. Happy birthday to me. Hey, what's that sign on that chair right there? Let's say Nick's B-Day party? I wonder where Nick is.
Oh, he's over there.
Damn, that's a tough case.
Welcome to the 6th episode of MSU Tonight this season. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you might even go deaf.
Ugh, did you say something, Sam?
Exactly my point, Joe. Anyways, coming up for today we have
The extensive and professional review of the worst Avengers movie.
the hot takes on the busted brackets.
And finally, we have...
I'm sorry, Joe, do you smell that?
Yeah, are you cooking something?
Oh, you know it. I'm cooking my world-famous spaghetti, actually.
God, that sounds good, man.
No, Joe, you absolute nerd. It's our hot topics.
This guy sucks. Anyway, let's dive into him, shall we?
In college basketball news, March Madness is upon us once again, and it's definitely been one heck of a weekend so far. With the rounds of 64 and 32 over, all that remains now is the Sweet 16. Sadly, there are no perfect brackets left, but out of the 14 million or so that were made, Murray State student Preston Jones is among the top 50,000 that are leading in points, meaning that he's within the total top 96% of all brackets. We decided to ask him his thoughts regarding the tournament so far.
Oral Roberts beating Ohio State was definitely a head scratcher, and then they won again, and so they're in the Sweet 16, which I don't think anybody saw coming. It's only the second time ever that that's happened. It's March Madness. You never know what's going to happen. You think you know what's going to happen, and then you don't.
After not having an NCAA tournament last year due to the world nearly coming to an end, this tournament means so much more for many fans like Preston. After a break this week, March Madness picks back up with the first game of the Sweet 16, taking place this Saturday when 12-seeded Oregon State takes on 8-seeded Loyola Chicago. The game starts at 1:40 Central Time on your local CBS affiliate.
Movie theaters are slowly reopening as COVID-19 cases are decreasing and vaccines are they're being distributed, y'all. Now, you think everything's going to normal, right? Sadly, not for San Francisco, because they suck. Their theaters are at 25% capacity, and guess what? Food and drinks are not allowed. I mean, get out of here. I mean, especially, listen, food and drinks are the best thing during the dang movie. You aren't going to have them? Oh, y'all suck. That's all I got for you. Go to Sam.
Murray State University has recently loosened its indoor capacity restrictions while classroom capacities will remain the same. Buildings for other student events will be open to 60% of its full capacity. Face masks will still be required at all times on campus, and other rules and adherence to the state health guidelines will also still apply. The only building that will not open to 60% capacity is the CFSB Center. Due to existing plans with the state, students are still recommended to attend classes and other events via Zoom if they feel sick or uncomfortable meeting in person. That was all for our hot topics for today. Now you better stay in front of that screen. Or else.
Closed captioning, another consideration for MSU Tonight provided by Rip Toff Pawn. It's not our job to ask whether there's a security tag on used electronics. That's your problem.
Welcome back to MSU Tonight. I would like everyone to meet my dear friend, Garrett Reed. He's one of the most boring individuals, but he knows a lot about a movie. Now, how are you, Garrett?
Doing good.
That's great. For today, we're going to be reviewing the new Justice League movie. Obviously, this is by Zack Snyder, correct?
Yes, sir.
So why did this not be the original movie?
Well, definitely after seeing the original movie when it came out, it definitely sucked.
I can agree with that one, honestly.
I spent a lot of time trying to buy this.
Anyways, for this new movie, there's a lot of changes within it. Obviously, it went from like what, 2.5, 3 hours to about like 4 hours.
Over 4 hours.
So it's definitely a task to take on to watch this movie. I know for myself it was like a 2-day task, so yeah, it's a lot. But I think some of the major changes that they brought to this movie is obviously what we were saying earlier. I mean, not as many corny jokes that they have. I mean, the CGI gets a lot better, and they introduce Martian Manhunter, correct?
Yes.
What were some of the changes that you saw in the movie that you thought were better than the original?
Definitely the introducing to the character backgrounds.
Mhm.
Those were more in depth and longer, which also built up to later on in the story. And then a lot of the characters that you didn't see before that added to the story. I would also say like more of like into the plot and like what it like actually means, like why the villains did this or that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of other things that went into it, but it's kind of a lot to discuss.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Some of the main people that kind of got changed within this new movie is Steppenwolf. I mean, obviously he doesn't look like a dork anymore. And they even give a little backstory on him. You know how in the one scene they say he's like a dismissed general in a way to Darkseid, who Darkseid is also a new member that they added to the cast. He's kind of like a Thanos, but for DC. Would you agree
I would
with
say that.
Yeah, definitely. And along with Darkseid appearing, we more so understand the plot better than the original. Because I know in the original, they kind of just like threw a bunch of characters in. Obviously, with like regular like heroes, you didn't really understand them. But more so on the villains, you kind of see Steppenwolf kind of come in the movie with like those 3 boxes, and he's just kind of just killing people. And you don't really know why. But in this movie, obviously, they give a little backstory to Steppenwolf and shows that he has ties to Darkseid. And another way that they give this background, not only on Steppenwolf but also Darkseid, is in the battle with what was it, like 2,000 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
They had like Zeus. Who else did they have in the battle?
Zeus, Hercules, a bunch of like the lanterns and the I guess the people from Atlantis, I guess you could say.
They had that. They had the Amazons, correct?
Amazons, yes.
They had
Vikings.
they had humans, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, that's like the backstory for the villains, and now fast forward to now, it's just the Justice League and their respective people and their leaders. So I think that definitely makes the movie better, and not only visually, but also just plot-wise. I think that makes it better. But obviously, something that you have to deal with adding more plot is adding more time. Like we said, it went from like 2.5 hours to 4 hours. And obviously, that's just something that you have to deal with, since they don't want to be like the Avengers and kind of have a ton of different separate movies to explain people. So I would say if I wanted to complain about anything, it would be that DC hasn't really done a good job of developing characters. Would you agree with that one?
I would agree on that.
And also, another thing I would complain about with this movie is I definitely think there were some unneeded scenes that could have probably been cut out. Like, I don't know if you agree about the one where Batman meets with Aquaman and he leaves and those like people in the village are just singing.
Yes, definitely. It
literally goes on for like what, 15 seconds of just her singing, and then it cuts. So it has no like, what would you say? It has nothing to do with the plot, basically. So I definitely think there's stuff like that are unneeded. But something that they did add, that they actually, I watched an interview with Zack Snyder and said he added the last scene, the premonition with Batman. That was entirely new, and he wrote that into the script afterwards. And for the audience, this scene is basically Batman's asleep. You don't know he's asleep, but it's basically post-apocalyptic world. And what is the dialogue between Batman and Joker? Do you remember?
Basically, it talks about how they could be as a team, but Batman really doesn't want to because he killed Robin. So there's a lot of conflict between them right there.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. And then Batman, I think, goes on to say that when Harley Quinn died, so apparently she did die, told Batman to kill the Joker. So it's a lot of animosity in between a lot of characters, but somehow within the scene they're still working together, which is very confusing on the first watch. And then obviously Batman wakes up, so you're like, oh, this didn't really actually happen. But it kind of sets up for another movie possibly. But then I saw in another interview that they don't plan on going ahead with the movie, sadly.
No.
So I think definitely that's a sad thing. But I think overall this new director cut was a lot better than the original. Would you agree?
I would agree, 100%.
Well, now Garrett, I'd have to say that was most likely the best review of a movie ever. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Yeah? Man, a few words. Anyways, that's all for today. Thank you for coming in today, Garrett. And stay tuned for more hot takes after this break.
Welcome back to MSU Tonight. I'm Joe Harris, alongside the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Kendall, baby. Woo! All right. So, March Madness. You're either happy or you're sad. You're either angry or you're excited. I'm sad right now. They should call it March Sadness. Wanna know why? Because my back, it's freaking busted.
Yeah.
Already, man. It's already busted. You know, so.
Mine too.
That means, honestly, you have upsets. So, Nick, what are some of the upsets so far in the tournament? Big ones, at least.
Yeah, I'd say some notable upsets, of course, would probably be 13 seed Ohio over Virginia, 11 UCLA over 6 BYU, and Abilene Christian, the 14 seed, they beat 3 seeded Texas.
Who the heck are they, man? Who the heck are they?
All right, and then 12 seeded Oregon State over Tennessee, 13 seeded North Texas over 4 seeded Purdue, and probably the most important one, 15 seeded Oral Roberts over 2 seed Ohio State.
Has anyone ever heard of Oral Roberts? Have y'all heard about this school? Have you heard about that?
I mean, I actually have. I looked into them kind of. Yeah, they're a smaller religious school in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yep.
How about that place? I mean, the only upset I kind of watched last night was the LSU game. And for fans that don't know, LSU played Michigan last night, an 8 seed versus the 1 seed, primetime matchup. Now, my family's from Louisiana, so I was really into the game, I was like, come on, baby, come on now, So I watched the first half. It was like a 33-32 score, Michigan leading. Biggest thing was we lost. We freaking lost.
Yeah, that's rough, man.
It's like I was like you with the cold open skit. I was all by myself. I was just crying like a little girl. It was pretty bad. But anyways, Nick, what does your Final Four bracket look like? Because I still have 3 teams in mind, but not trying to point any fingers,
Yeah. Well, I mean, besides a lot of earlier games, my bracket's actually doing pretty good.
No way.
Yeah, my Final Four teams are all still in it, and not necessarily in order, but I've got Gonzaga, Alabama, Houston, and Baylor.
Those are some good teams.
Yeah.
I didn't have Baylor in mind, man. That stinks. I had Alabama, Arkansas, and I also had Michigan. So right now, my teams are still surviving, but who knows? They could be dead by tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I thought about putting Michigan in there, but to get to the Final Four, they would have to play Alabama, or at least in my bracket. Yeah. And obviously, Alabama head coach Nate Oates, he's probably one of the greatest in the game. If you remember back from 2018, he was the coach of that Buffalo team that beat 4-seeded Arizona.
God, what happened there? It was like Tell me what happened. I completely forgot.
Yeah, it was like the Buffalo completely blew them out. It was like a 20-point game, and like that was the Arizona team with DeAndre Ayton, the first round pick of that year's draft too. So
Oh yeah.
So that was a pretty important win for him, and you know, he got the Alabama coaching job a couple years ago, or 2019, I think, right after that. And I mean, you know, and you know, mix in John Petty, you know, his starting guard.
He's hot, man, dude. That guy can make it from
honors,
anywhere.
yeah.
I mean, he could make it from the freaking parking lot.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, like he could stand up and go, "I'm going to the parking lot to shoot a ball," and then it would go in.
Honestly, and you know, I mean, honestly, I usually say this unironically, and like during football season, but I mean, roll Tide, man. They're just like they've got this Sweet 16 matchup against UCLA, and you know, I love Mick Cronin. You know, shout out to, you know, former MSU head coach. But I mean, I just think Alabama's got this one in the bag, and I think they're going to be a team to look out for.
You know, man, I definitely agree with that. It just pains me to see Alabama win a game. You know, being an LSU guy, I'm like, just hearing the word Alabama, I want to just, you know, just ugh.
Amen. But SEC basketball got really good this year.
So who do you have in the championship, though? If you had to put two teams right now,
yeah,
you know, just ballpark it. What do you got?
So the championship game, I've got Gonzaga and Baylor.
Oh.
And I have Baylor winning the whole thing, you know.
Oh, that's a good pick right now.
Yes, I mean they've only lost 2 games this season, you know.
2 games. Who was the one? There was one undefeated team. Was it Gonzaga though?
Yeah, Gonzaga's 26-0 right now, I believe.
How do you accomplish that?
Well, one, you know, having a or, you know, playing in a conference that's, you know, soft as Charmin, right?
Losers.
I mean, well, not even necessarily losers. It's just their conference is really weak. You know, on a good day, their best competition is St. Mary's, right? And you know, like St. Mary's is got to catch fire if they want to beat them like they did, you know, last year or in 2019 in the championship.
So is that like the equivalent of like Alabama to Vanderbilt in football? Like they'll just stomp on them and just say, "I own you."
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because honestly, I think a middle school basketball team could walk into Pepperdine and grab a W
and just compete right there.
Exactly. But yeah, no. You know, Gonzaga, you know, they're a good team, you know, like I said, but their non-conference schedule really makes up for, you know, their weak conference, because, you know, they got some key wins against West Virginia, Kansas,
and
Iowa.
Bob Huggins got his 900th win, right? Was it Bob Huggins?
I believe so. Yeah.
How about that guy? It's crazy hair, folks. It's like way down to his, you know, butt. It's
hey man, I just know he's really good at recruiting guys who know how to play defense. Mm-hmm. Like I can't remember his name right now, but I know from a couple teams. A team a couple years ago, Javon Carter.
Yes.
Like that man knows how to play defense, and like I just don't know where Bob Huggins found him.
My man Carter, dude. So my family's from Tennessee. I'm from Nashville originally, and we call Rick Barnes Rick Sucks. That's his nickname now. So if any of y'all are Tennessee fans, most of y'all are Kentucky probably, but Tennessee fans, you're with me. But anyways, he's the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Kendall. I'm Joe Harris. That's all we have for March Madness. Let's go to break, and we'll be right back with MSU Tonight.
Bears winning it all.
That's all for tonight. We thank you for watching tonight's episode, and we hope you at home tune in to the next episode of MSU Tonight, Tuesday at 5 p.m. on MSU TV 11.
That's channel 26-3 for those of you watching on campus or on Spectrum.
And if you miss it live, you can check it out on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/MSU Tonight for the latest episodes and some of our best segments.
Lastly, be sure to follow us on Twitter at MSU Tonight for regular updates and behind-the-scenes footage each week.
Well, that's all for this episode of MSU Tonight. Be sure to join us next week when we'll have
a toenail review,
an interview with the dude who created coronavirus,
and lastly, a debate on which shark is the best.
And if you don't say the hammerhead shark, then you know nothing.
And you suck.
Good night, everyone. Good info.